There we go. She's telling me recording's in progress. Right. Welcome, everybody. Hope everybody is well. I'm just gonna collapse the chat for a minute and then obviously I'll go on to it in a bit. Right. So let's go to where we are. We've starting off, we've obviously had one hell of a week this week. Been obviously really happy. Monday was, slow, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday have been great. I decided obviously yesterday to close out a bit earlier. I didn't really want to push it because yeah, it had obviously gone well, and I think markets were pretty slow anyway. So let's obviously now have an overall, look of obviously what is happening. Because we've got a big day today, like we expected. We obviously had this breakout on Tuesday. Markets aren't really doing a lot. I do think we're going to break out. Um, I don't think we're going to break out to the downside. I think 98,500, if I had to hazard a guess, is going to hold strong. Now, one of the biggest things we've got today is CPI data, so inflation data. All right. Now, I wanted to go over this because this is obviously, yeah, pretty important, but it's going to be basically expected. All right. So, everyone is expecting inflation to come in a bit higher. As you can see here, month on month was 0.3. Last month expected to be 1%. All right. Now, anything higher, and we're talking a lot higher, all right, this obviously will, strengthen the dollar, right? It's going to strengthen the dollar, it's going to strengthen yields, and it's going to drop gold, all right? Because it'll mean, long term interest rates will be higher for, longer. Now, if obviously, for any reason CPI data beats this, right, comes in under, um, then it's going to be, have a negative impact for the dollar, for yields, and what everyone's been, waiting for. The only safe haven for inflation is gold. All right. So if there is, um, you know, worries, if there is, yeah, then gold will, fly, or gold could potentially tumble too. So it is going to be a very interesting one. I don't want to carry anything over. I want to be out before like probably up as 12 if I had an ideal scenario. So obviously that's why I don't want to push anything this morning. I'd quite like to be out within the next couple of hours. So then we can obviously wait for inflation data to come out. We're waiting for markets to go a bit crazy, and then obviously we can, capitalize on it. So that's the goal for anyone who trades CAD. Obviously, they've got unemployment rate, so that's obviously due to tick up 0.1%. So that obviously could affect the Canadian dollar as well as obviously oil. But everyone's DXY should look a bit like this, where we've got 99 as a key level, 98,500 as a key level, 99,500 as a key level, and then obviously this consolidation here marked up. So, we obviously want to see. I do think there's a potential for it to break out higher and come in and potentially close this gap, come and hit 99,500 if we get data later, good data later. But obviously, I don't think even if we get the negative data, there's going to be. I mean, I might be surprised, but I think 98,500 is going to hold pretty well. But let's wait and see. We're moving into, yields, very similar scenario that they've closed the gap, but nothing crazy. It's quite a heavy level of resistance here, which obviously is struggling to break through, at the moment. So we obviously got to wait and see, but this obviously has got a long-term reflection on the dollar. And I would say yields you can probably see pretty much they're trading to the downside, so it'd be interesting to obviously see what happens here. Um, Pairs that we've got lined up for today. So GBP USD, I decided to stay out of this one just because it is moving exactly the same as Euro. All right. So euro right now, this was obviously the position. Let's go down to a lower time frame. I don't want to push my internet too hard, so we'll stay on the 15 minute for now. Euro, currently wanted it to come into this area. I've kept areas quite large because I haven't wanted to kind of try and pinpoint. I do think markets were going to be a bit slower, so I wanted a bigger kind of collective here. But you're currently in a little bit of profit, not too much, kind of break even area. Aussie, dumped obviously down into our area. I've obviously got three triggers. One's here. I think this morning the three triggers are going to really help because even if we had a bit of a dump off, it's not going to pose too much more for it to come back into profit. And like I said, I would like to be out of all of these by probably up as 10, 11 if I had magic ball, crystal ball. Gold currently had all three trigger, so if you entered all three, should be overall about break even. Let's have a look at mine, just double checking it. If my internet hurries up, and then we should be good. So let's have a look here. I'm gonna let that load for a bit, but yes, I've got all three. So I don't know what is going on the internet here. So I've got one here, I got one here, and I got one here. So it should be roughly around about break even on that one there. Let's have a look now. Yes, so perfect, happy. So yeah, let's wait and see what happens here. And then last but not least, USDJPY here. Um, currently in a bit of profit on that one too. So yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. The idea behind this morning was mainly to cover us, but not over enter too early. All right, so obviously that's why on our currency pairs I've got a slightly larger zone today because I wanted to almost, scatter entries a bit, but cover us, so if we did have this pump up, it doesn't trigger all three. And, it just gives us a bit of leeway because I do want to be out, at a, yeah, way before the US, session is going to kick in. One thing about inflation is quite a key, dollar's been gearing up for this ever since Tuesday. We had the de-escalation Tuesday, and all it's been gearing up for is obviously the CPI data this afternoon. So we're gonna have to really be pa pa- uh, patient. We're gonna have to respect it, all right, because this is gonna move markets, and we do want to make sure that we are on top of everything. So let's go through some questions. Greg, why were you expecting weak dollar this morning at 6 a.m.? Yields were reclaiming the big drop yesterday afternoon, and dollar was following. So I go with overall, all right? And if you look at this chart on an overall, who's going to be buying the dollar? All right, there's nothing here to tell me to buy. All right, we've got, one confluence here, major level of resistance here. All right, I'm going to sneeze. Yeah, there we go. So major level of resistance there. That's obviously one. We've got obviously our EMA correlations. That's two. We got trend. You can't say this is a uptrend because obviously you've had a major gap down this morning. That's our confluence to short number three. All right. So, we've only got to have, three obviously overall conferences here to, say, why would you be buying this? All right. There is a higher, we obviously have to work in trading because we don't know what the right answer is. All right. You can, I always explain people trading is like educated gambling. All right. And it's like a casino, if you, for anyone who's good on the roulette, if you were to go third So if you were to place 1/3 or third one, third three black. All right, you are hedging your chances of pretty much you're almost guaranteed to obviously hit one of your numbers. All right, we have to make sure we're always going with the highest probability. All right, or in our eyes the highest probability. And obviously one of the ways that we can tick off two very, very easy is the overall macros, which is normally overall trend. All right, or we go yes, so trend and macros, that's going to give you that kind of more of a more higher probability of you obviously getting the trade in the correct direction. All right, if we've got macros and trend going one way, and then we've got obviously the charts obviously going the other way after we've planned it all out, we can't help that. There's a reason why no one is 100% profitable. They are 85%, 75%, 60%, so there is always that. If you're 60%, there's 40% chance you're obviously not going to be right. So all we're trying to do the whole time as a trader is edge our probability up. I mean, we're pretty good. We've got about 75%, which I'm pretty happy. I would say that's pretty high, because you only need 60% win rate and you'll be a profitable trader, so that's obviously why. Right. So look at this one. What's triggered on yours, Dan, and how many? So I've got, go through these if it will. I got one on Euro USD, which is in a little bit of drawdown. One on AD USD, which is in a little bit of drawdown. I got three on gold, which if I just get this back up. So I've got three on gold. Gold looks worse, but with the three, it's not actually that bad, because I've got one in massive profit here, one is around about break even, and one's in a bit of loss. And then USDJPY is around about break even. So I got 113 or 1113. When talking about macros, Dan, what exactly are you including? Well, my macros are obviously your opinion, all right, for a start, all right, but you can also include data, all right. So one, we've got obviously a very, very probably easier week to trade because we got the de-escalation, right? And why has dollar been pumping so much, right? It's not because it's been doing brilliant, right? It's because it's mainly because it's been a safe haven due to the escalation, all right? So naturally, we've got a massive tick here. Macros are not going to be buying the dollar until this week time is over, or they're not going to be buying it heavily. All right, so that's obviously one huge tick. It makes this week very, very easy. Yeah. But then obviously you've got to, be looking through everything. So like, for example, yesterday jobless claims were down. PCE was around break even. We had GDP down. We had, all right, continuing jobless claims up, or yeah, up on what they were the previous month, but it's not a lot, so you've got to paint a picture, all right, in your head. We want to be working on jobs. We want to be working on the likelihood of, are they going to raise interest rates or reduce interest rates, and then we got to work on inflation and spending. All right, those are the only things that you really need to focus on, because the more spending, the obviously lower the interest rates are gonna be, and obviously the more jobs, the more people that there are in work with money spending. So it's all a big balance of obviously how the how a banking system in a country has to manage. It's no to to be honest, how I describe it, I've got a two daughters, all right? One's 10, one's 13, all right? She's coming up for 14. But that my 10-year-old is, she doesn't spend, all right? So I'm gonna base this on my 13-year-old. She loves to, spending money, all right? And as a as a parent, I have to curb that, all right? So it might be that she's got to do more to get spending money, or I'm going to take that off the table because I need to be, manage it. Right. That's all a banking system that does. It just curbs or increases everyone's, spending. Right. If I told her, if I'm, feeling a bit flush, she might only have to take her plate out, um, to get a bit of pocket money. Whereas if things are a bit tight, things are a bit tighter, a bit harder, she's gonna have to take her plate out. She's gonna have to hoover the house. She's gonna have to do this, that. Right? And obviously that is how. Yeah, basically, it's probably the worst example ever, but that's roughly how it works. They just curb spending. All right. So one, thank you, Skid, but I think that was the worst analogy I've ever come up with. But no, does anyone have any more questions? Any more for any more? Any more for any more? Let's just have one more go through. So USDJPY, not too bad. Gold break even. Aussie pulling up a bit. Euro still pulling up. Yeah. So we're probably trading in a little bit of a loss, but yeah, we'll be all good, all good, all good, all good. Right. If there's no more questions, I'm gonna hope your daughters start listening. Very true. Very true. Right. I hope everyone has a great Friday. And yeah, let's make sure we have a all green week this week. So have a great day, everyone. I'll obviously keep you guys updated this morning, and then obviously I'll update everything a bit later on at 1:30. So we'll probably be looking to trade once this news comes out. There'll be the kind of impulse move. And then obviously we want to trade off the back of what happens after that. So it'll probably be about 1:30, quarter to two when we're looking to enter a trade. So yeah, have a great day and yeah, let's smash it. Have a good one, team.